Welcome to the deep dive. If you're anything like me, or, well, most people these days, your workday probably feels like a relentless sprint.
Mm.
We're all just constantly busy, right? Hopping from one meeting to another, trying desperately to focus.
Yeah, getting pulled in a million directions.
Exactly, and drowning in emails. It feels like an endless ocean
It
sometimes.
really does.
And in all that chaos, true productivity, real creativity,
Yeah.
it can feel almost impossible, like a distant dream.
Right.
But what if there was maybe a strategic shortcut, a way to get those focused, productive moments back into your workday?
Well, that's precisely what we're going to try and uncover today. Our guide for this deep dive is Timo Kiander's book, Work Smarter, Not Harder: 18 Productivity Tips That Boost Your Workday Performance, which came out in 2015.
Okay.
Now, Timo, he's been deep into time management since 2007. Learned from the big names like David Allen.
Oh, wow. Getting things done.
That's the one. And he's actually trained companies on this stuff. So
Yeah.
what we want to do for you today is pull out the most impactful, the most actionable strategies from his experience. The goal is to help make your work days, well, not just more effective, but actually more satisfying too.
Exactly. So our mission here is kind of twofold. First, we're going to look at what Kiander calls the basic building blocks, the things you absolutely must have.
The foundation, yeah.
And then we'll dive into 18 really practical, actionable tips he shares. We want to help you reclaim your focus, boost your performance. Doesn't matter if you're working from home or, in a cubicle somewhere.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Kiander kicks things off with this really powerful metaphor for personal productivity. I quite like it.
Mm-hmm.
He compares it to a building, right? And it needs this super solid foundation to stand tall, to actually last.
Makes sense.
And he warns that if that foundation is missing, or even if just part of it cracks, personal productivity becomes, and I quote, just a distant dream.
Wow. Strong words.
Yeah. So what are these crucial foundational blocks he says we absolutely need to build first?
Okay, so he lays out 4 essentials, non-negotiables really.
Yeah.
Proper mindset, physical activity, optimum nutrition, and enough sleep.
Got it. Mindset, activity, nutrition, sleep.
Exactly. And he really hammers home the point that if any one of these is weak or just plain missing, then yeah, that dream of sustained productivity, it's going to stay a dream, like trying to build, I don't know, a skyscraper on sand.
That's a great image. And the first one, proper mindset. That always feels like the most, abstract one maybe, but maybe the most critical.
Look off of this. Yeah.
Kiander brings in Carol Dweck's concept here, right? Fixed versus growth mindsets from her book, Mindset. Can you just quickly break down that difference and why it's so important for productivity?
Absolutely. So the core idea is people with a fixed mindset tend to believe their intelligence, their talents, they're just fixed traits. You've got what you've got.
Right. I'm just not good at math, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Exactly that. So when they hit a challenge, they might just give up, thinking, well, I can't do this. But a growth mindset believes you can develop your abilities through dedication, through hard work, through practice.
Okay.
So for productivity, this means you embrace challenges, you learn from mistakes, you see effort as like the path to getting better, not a sign you're not smart enough. It's really empowering.
That's huge mental shift. Definitely. So, okay, head's in the right space with a growth mindset. What's the next piece of that foundation?
Next up is physical activity.
Yeah.
And Kiander shares his own story here, which is pretty compelling.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about how he used to just drag himself home, totally exhausted, basically collapse on the couch.
And now.
Right.
Yeah.
But then he committed to regular exercise, and the change was dramatic. His energy level shot up, he felt genuinely happier, and get this, he found he was actually more creative. Yeah, he even started solving tricky work problems while he was exercising. And it's not just him saying it. There's research, like a study from the University of Stockholm, that backs up this link between exercise and increased energy. It really affects your mood, your focus, even how well you sleep.
I can definitely feel that energy boost after exercise. It's
Yeah.
a total game changer. Okay, so after moving our bodies, he talks about optimum nutrition, which honestly feels like a minefield these days.
Oh, tell me about it. So much conflicting advice.
Right. He mentions too many rules, lots of myths. So what's the key takeaway Kiander wants us to get from this often confusing topic?
His core message is actually pretty simple, despite all the noise. It's basically one diet doesn't fit all.
Okay, that makes sense.
He just underscores that what you eat has a massive impact on your energy, your focus, just how you feel all day long. It's about finding what works for you, what fuels your specific body best, not blindly following some rigid generic plan. Think of it like tuning your own personal engine.
Tuning your engine. I like that. Okay, and then the final foundational block, and maybe the one we neglect the most. Enough. Sleep.
Ah, yes, sleep.
Why does Kiander call this the missing block, the one that can just undermine everything else?
Well, he speaks from painful experience here. He remembers being a sleep-deprived web developer.
Oof, I can imagine.
Yeah, struggling with terrible focus, memory problems every afternoon, taking forever to solve simple coding issues. And he stresses that chronic sleep deprivation isn't just about feeling tired or groggy.
Right, there are bigger health risks.
Exactly. It's linked to serious stuff like weight gain, type 2 diabetes, even cognitive decline over time. And he also busts that common myth, the whole everyone needs exactly 8 hours thing.
Oh, interesting. So 8 hours isn't the magic number?
Apparently not, or at least not universally. He says the amount and even the pattern of sleep you need is highly individual. It varies from person to person.
Okay, so if 8 hours isn't the rule, how do you figure out your personal sweet spot for sleep? Because that seems pretty critical.
That's a great question. And his answer is really about self-experimentation. He suggests a couple of practical ways.
Like what?
First, try the vacation test. When you're off work for a few days, just sleep without an alarm clock. See how long your body naturally wants to sleep.
Okay, let your body decide.
Exactly. Second, keep a sleep diary. Track when you go to bed, when you wake up, how rested you feel. You can even review it with a specialist if you're really struggling.
That's practical.
And for improving sleep quality right away, he gives some quick tips. Make sure your room is really dark, quiet, maybe decluttered. Adjust the temperature so it's comfortable. Definitely avoid working in the bedroom if you can.
Yeah, keep it a sleep sanctuary.
Right. And maybe lay off the coffee, intense exercise, or big heavy meals too close to bedtime. The main point is, without figuring out and optimizing your sleep, you're basically fighting with one hand tied behind your back, no matter what other productivity tricks you try.
Okay, that makes total sense. So we've got the foundation. Mindset, movement, fuel, rest. It's solid. Now, where do we go? This is where it gets really interesting, right?
Exactly. Now we move from those basics to the 18 specific detailed strategies Kiander lays out for making your workdays more effective and hopefully more satisfying too.
All right, let's start strong, quite literally. Kiander's very first tip is have a powerful start to your day.
The morning routine.
Yeah, it's all about reclaiming that me time in the morning, the time that often gets sacrificed, right?
That's so true.
He suggests a simple trick for becoming an early riser, which I like. Just adjust your wake-up time in tiny steps, like 15 minutes earlier for a week, then another 15. Apparently, sleep expert Stephanie Silberman backs this up, too.
Small increments, yeah. Makes it less painful.
Totally. And Kiander himself, he used these quiet early hours to achieve some pretty huge goals. Things like passing tough certification exams, training for marathon. Yeah, even becoming a published author and building a blog following. It really shows the power of that focused time before the chaos of the day hits.
That quiet time is golden. And it flows really nicely into a second tip, which is understanding your optimal working rhythm.
Ah, okay. So not just working nonstop.
Definitely not. He argues that just sitting there trying to grind for 8 hours straight is, well, not just ineffective, but probably bad for you.
Yeah, I believe that.
So he details a few different approaches. There's the classic Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of focus work, then a 5-minute break.
Yep, heard of that one.
Then there's the idea of 90-minute intervals, which is actually based on some sleep research by Nathan Kleitman about our natural body cycles, our ultradian rhythms.
Interesting, 90 minutes.
And then there was this surprising finding from a study by the Dragium group. They looked at top performers and found they often worked intensely for about 52 minutes, then took a longer break, around 17 minutes, the 52-17 ratio.
52-17, okay. So lots of different potential rhythms. What's the main takeaway here? Just pick one.
Well, the common thread, as you said, is about intentional structured breaks, not just pushing through until you collapse.
Right.
I think the biggest mistake people make is seeing breaks as, like, a reward you might get if you finish, or even a sign of weakness. Or worse, using the break time to check email or do other work.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. Kiander's real insight is that breaks are essential. They're for cognitive replenishment, for keeping your focus sharp. The key is finding your personal rhythm, what works for you, and making sure those breaks are genuinely energizing. Get up, stretch, grab water, just stare out the window for 5 minutes. It's about renewing your mental energy, not just watching the clock.
Renewing mental energy. That's a much better way to think about breaks. Okay, so foundation set, we've got a strong start, maybe found a rhythm, but then the enemy appears. Distractions.
Ah, yes, the constant battle.
How does Kiander suggest we, build a fortress against them? This is his third tip. Keep distractions at bay.
He's smart about this. He breaks distractions down into three main types: communication tools, other people, and the ones inside your own head, internal distractions.
Okay, let's start with the tools. Email, Slack, phones.
Right. For those, he's pretty firm. He recommends setting aside just 2 or maybe 3 specific time windows each day, say 15 to 30 minutes each, to handle all communications. Emails, calls, social media pings, everything.
Only 2 or 3 times. Wow.
Yeah. And outside those windows, close the email client, shut down social media, mute your phone. It sounds hardcore, but the idea is to create these sacred blocks of deep, uninterrupted focus.
Okay, I can see the appeal, even if it sounds tough. What about the people distractions? Muting my phone won't stop Dave from accounting wandering over to my desk.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Dave from accounting. For other people, he suggests being proactive, maybe making polite do not disturb requests, or, if you can, physically changing your location.
Like hiding.
Kind of. Go to an empty meeting room, a coffee shop down the street, the library, maybe even work outside if the weather's nice. Anywhere you're less likely to be interrupted.
Makes sense.
He also mentions those little random tricks, as he calls them, like wearing headphones even if nothing's playing. It's like a universal sign for leave me alone.
Totally works.
Or, just putting up a little do not disturb sign if your workplace allows it. It's about signaling that you need to focus.
Okay, good tips. But then there's the hardest where, for me anyway. The internal distractions. My own brain hijacking my attention. What does Kiander suggest for that?
Yeah, those are tricky. He does link it back to getting enough sleep. A tired brain wanders more easily.
Sure.
But his main practical tip here is the distraction list. It's super simple.
What?
When you're trying to focus and suddenly you think, oh, I need to buy milk, or what about that email from yesterday? Or you get a brilliant idea for something else, just jot it down quickly
Yeah.
on a piece of paper or a digital note you keep open.
Just write it down.
Yeah, the act of getting it out of your head and onto paper frees up your mental bandwidth right now. You acknowledge the thought, but you park it, knowing you can come back to it later. It lets you return your focus to the task at hand. It's like an external hard drive for your random thoughts.
A mental offload system. I like that. Does he say what to do with the list later?
The main goal is freeing up your focus in the moment. But yeah, the implication is you'd review that list later, maybe during a planning session or a break, and decide what needs action, what was just a fleeting thought. It stops those thoughts from derailing you right now.
Okay, clever. So we're managing distractions, inside and out. That leads perfectly into planning, doesn't it? Kiander's fourth tip. Never start your day unplanned. He says planning was one of his biggest productivity boosters personally. What's his method?
His approach is pretty straightforward. Create your task list the day before. Don't wait until the morning.
Planning ahead.
Exactly. And prioritize ruthlessly. Identify maybe 3 really important tasks for the day, put those at the top, then list your lower priority stuff. And this is key. Do any prep work needed beforehand.
Like gathering files or...
Yeah, making sure documents are ready, maybe drafting a quick outline, anything that reduces friction so you can just dive right into the important work first thing.
Smart. Less resistance in the morning.
And building on that, he brings up an idea from Mark Forster's book, Do It Tomorrow, the concept of a closed task list.
Closed task list. What's that?
It means once your day starts, you don't add any new tasks to that day's list. Anything new goes onto tomorrow's list.
Whoa, why?
It helps prevent that demoralizing feeling you get when your list just keeps growing and growing throughout the day, making it impossible to finish. It keeps the goal achievable.
Okay, I can see that. Keeps you from feeling like you're constantly falling behind.
Right. And another interesting bit of advice here. He suggests becoming a pessimist when you plan.
A pessimist? That sounds counterintuitive for productivity.
I know, right? But what he means is be realistic and maybe even underestimate what you can get done. Deliberately cut down the number of tasks you plan for the day. This actually increases the likelihood that you'll finish everything on your list, which is a huge motivator.
Okay. Underpromise and overdeliver, but to yourself.
Exactly. It's about managing your own expectations and setting yourself up for a win.
That makes sense. And it connects really well to tip 6. Identify the most important tasks and do them first. How does he help us figure out what's truly important versus just, urgent?
That's a classic dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
He makes a useful distinction. Think about tasks with long-term effects, like working on that big project, writing your book, developing a new skill. Those are often important, but not necessarily screaming for attention right now.
Right, the strategic stuff.
Then you have tasks with more short-term effects, often things where other people need your input right away.
Yeah.
Urgent requests. The insight is to consciously recognize which is which, and then deliberately make time for those important long-term tasks, usually by tackling them first thing, before the urgent stuff swamps your day. It's about being proactive with your big goals, not just reacting to incoming demands.
Proactive versus reactive.
Right.
Got it. Okay, now, let's talk meetings. The notorious time suck for many people.
Oh yeah, the meeting monster.
Kiander's seventh tip is ask these questions regarding your next meeting. What's on his checklist to help us cut down on wasted meeting time?
It's a fantastic, really practical checklist. First question, is your attendance actually necessary? Can you really contribute, or could you get the info later?
Good one. Be honest with yourself.
Second, can you attend virtually? Save yourself the travel time, maybe multitask lightly if appropriate. Well, maybe not multitask based on later tips, but save the commute.
Fair point.
Third, does this meeting even need to happen? Could it just be an email or a quick chat?
The million-dollar question.
Fourth, is there a clear agenda? And can we limit the duration? He mentions those super efficient 15-minute daily stand-ups common in software development as an example. Keep it short and focused.
15 minutes sounds amazing.
And finally, a simple but often overlooked one. Can we test the technology beforehand? How many meetings start late because the screen sharing isn't working?
Way too many.
Right. So asking these questions beforehand empowers you to protect your time, to be a gatekeeper.
That's a great toolkit for meetings. Okay, building on saving time, he then tackles what feel like twin beasts. Batching similar tasks together, that's tip 8, and processing your email effectively, tip 9.
Ah, the email beast.
Yeah.
No.
How did Kiander tame his own email habits, and what's his recommended routine? Because constant checking is such a drain.
He made a pretty radical shift. He went from that constant reactive checking we all do
Yep, refresh.
to batch processing his email just 3 times a day, 3 specific times for maybe 15 to 30 minutes each.
Only 3 times, that's discipline.
It is. And his routine for those sessions is brilliant. First, define your checking times. And critically, never first thing in the morning. Let yourself focus on important work first.
Good rule. Don't start the day reacting.
Second, keep your email client closed the rest of the time. Turn off all those notifications, the pings, the pop-ups. Use auto-replies if you need to signal you're not checking constantly.
Oh, yeah, creating the space?
Then, during the processing session, delete or archive anything irrelevant immediately. Unsubscribe ruthlessly from newsletters you never read. Set up filters for automated stuff. If an email needs a quick reply, do it right then. If it's more complex, schedule time to reply later. He even suggests pasting the email's URL into your task list for easy reference.
Oh, that's clever, the URL trick.
Yeah. Or, if it's really complicated, maybe just pick up the phone. Sometimes a 5-minute call saves 30 minutes of emailing back and forth.
So true.
And what's really interesting is he says this batching strategy isn't just for email. You can apply it to checking voicemail, processing physical mail, even checking social media feeds. It's about focused, intentional processing, not constant scattered reaction.
That sounds like it could free up so much mental energy. Wow. Okay, following that efficiency drive, we get to tip 10. Delegate the right way. Why is delegation so critical for managing workload?
Well, ultimately, it's a lever, right? It's a way to multiply your effectiveness. Delegating allows you to offload tasks that maybe don't require unique skills, freeing you up to focus on your most important, high-impact work.
Makes sense, but he stresses the right way. I guess bad delegation can cause more problems.
Oh, absolutely. Dumping a task on someone without clear instructions or support, that can be a disaster, worse than just doing it yourself sometimes.
Okay, so what does delegating the right way involve? What are the key steps?
It starts with really detailed documentation. Clearly write down the steps involved in the task.
Document everything.
And this is crucial, test those instructions yourself. Make sure they actually work and make sense. Then test them with the person you're delegating to. Walk them through it.
Okay, test and verify.
Set really clear, explicit deadlines. Don't leave it vague. And then actively follow up. Check in, see if they have questions, make sure things are on track. Don't just dump and run.
Right, ongoing support.
And finally, see it as a continuous process. After the task is done, get feedback. How could the instructions be clearer next time? How can we improve the process? If you think about the bigger picture, good delegation isn't just about offloading work. It's about building systems, empowering others, and building trust.
That's a much more robust view of delegation. Okay, shifting gears slightly, but still related to focus. Tip 11 is take breaks. We touched on this with rhythms, but why emphasize again? It still feels counterintuitive when you're swamped.
It does, doesn't it? But Kiander really drives home the point. Breaks are not counterproductive. He even cites a University of Illinois study showing they actually improve performance on long tasks.
Improve performance by stopping. Okay.
Yeah. And think about those aha moments, right?
Right.
You step away from a problem you're stuck on, go for a walk, and suddenly the solution pops into your head.
That happens all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your brain keeps working on it in the background, subconsciously.
Mhm.
The key, again, is making breaks energizing. Have that coffee or tea, chat with a colleague for a few minutes, do a quick meditation, maybe a power nap if you're working from home,
Or just get some fresh air.
or a quick burst of exercise, a
Yeah.
healthy snack, step outside. Anything that gives your brain a genuine rest and recharge, not just switching to a different kind of task. It's about mental recovery.
Mental recovery, not just stopping. Got it. Okay, this next one always makes me chuckle a bit because of the name. Tip 12. Take care of the frogs right away.
Huh? Yes. Eat the frog.
For anyone listening who hasn't heard this metaphor, what exactly is a frog and why on earth should we eat it first thing?
So the frog metaphor, it was popularized by Brian Tracy in his book Eat That Frog.
Right.
But it actually originated with Mark Twain, apparently.
Oh, Mark Twain. Didn't know that.
Yeah. And the frog is basically your biggest, ugliest, most challenging task of the day. The one you're most likely to procrastinate on because it feels daunting or unpleasant.
We all have those frogs.
We absolutely do. And what's fascinating, Kiander points out, is how much mental energy gets consumed just by avoiding the frog. It sits there in the back of your mind, nagging you, draining your focus all day.
That's so true. The dread is exhausting.
Exactly. So the eat the frog strategy is simple. Tackle that big, ugly task first thing in the morning, get it done, get it out of the way.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Precisely. Kiander suggests mentally preparing for it, maybe jotting down a few quick notes to make it less intimidating, doing it early before other things interfere, and then this is important, really visualizing how good you'll feel once it's completed. It's about starting your day with your biggest accomplishment.
That does sound incredibly satisfying, actually. Okay, from frogs to lists. Tip 13 is create checklists. Checklists feel kind of basic, almost old school. Why dedicate a whole tip to them? What are the real benefits?
Don't underestimate the humble checklist. They're incredibly powerful for productivity. Why? Because they ensure consistency. They help you perform tasks faster. They lead to more predictable, reliable results. They make delegation much, much easier.
Ah, connects back to delegation.
Exactly. If you have a checklist, someone else can follow it. And they can even help you build new habits.
How so?
Well, he references Atul Gawande's great book, The Checklist Manifesto. Gawande talks about two main types. There's redo, which is like following a recipe. You read step 1, you do step 1. Read step 2, do step 2.
Okay, simple enough.
Then there's deconfirm. This is more for experts or routine tasks. You do the steps from memory, then you go through the checklist afterwards just to confirm you didn't miss anything critical, like a pilot's pre-flight check.
Ah, okay, for verification.
Right. So Kiander gives tips on creating them, keep them short, clear, simple, logical. And maintaining them, update them as processes change. It's really about reducing mental load, preventing errors, and making sure the important stuff always gets done right.
Reduces thinking, ensures quality. I like it. Now, for something a bit different. Tip 14. Take a snapshot of your work before vacation. He shares a personal story about this, right? What happened?
Yeah, he talks about coming back from a nice long holiday, like 4 weeks off,
Nice.
and sitting down at his desk on the first day back and having absolutely no idea what he was working on before he left. Total blank.
Oh, no. That sounds stressful.
Totally stressful. So, to avoid that post-vacation panic, he developed this habit of creating a quick snapshot note right before he leaves.
A snapshot note. What goes in it?
Just the essentials to jog his memory. Things like copies of the last few important emails he sent or received, a log of any recent phone calls related to ongoing projects, the current status of his main tasks, maybe contact info for key people. Anything that will help him get back up to speed quickly without digging through weeks of old stuff.
That is incredibly practical. Smart. Does he suggest anything else for smoother vacation transitions, pre or post?
Yeah, he does. Pre-vacation, the usual practical stuff. Clean your desk, let colleagues know who's covering for you, forward your calls if necessary, update your calendar, set up that out-of-office auto-reply.
Standard stuff, yeah.
Post-vacation, he advises easing back in. Maybe adjust your sleep schedule back a day or two before you return. Dedicate a good chunk of that first day back just to catching up. It's especially on
Yeah.
emails. Don't expect to dive into major projects immediately. And interestingly, he says he actually prefers to start back on a Tuesday rather than a
Oh,
Monday.
why Tuesday?
Gives him Monday to kind of mentally readjust, maybe handle personal stuff after traveling, and hit the ground running Tuesday with a slightly shorter first week back. The bigger idea here is just minimizing that friction, reducing the stress of leaving and returning. It's proactive relaxation almost.
Proactive relaxation. I love that. Okay, minimizing friction. Great goal. Now, Kiander takes aim at a really pervasive myth with tip 15. Focus on one thing at a time. We hear so much about multitasking being a key skill.
Oh, the multitasking myth, it drives me crazy.
So why is it a myth, according to Kiander, and how do we actually achieve that elusive single-task focus?
He uses a perfect example.
Eh.
Try talking on the phone while writing a complex email. What happens?
Disaster. You either miss half the conversation or send an email full of typos and nonsense.
Exactly. What we call multitasking is really just rapid task switching. And every time you switch, there's a cognitive cost. You lose time, you lose focus, you make more errors. It's incredibly inefficient.
So how do we stop doing it?
He suggests a few things. First, break big, daunting tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks. Makes it easier to focus on just one piece. Second, plan your work. Know what you're going to focus on when. Third, actively control those distractions we talked about earlier. Close the tabs, mute the phone, maybe change your environment if you need defocus.
Be intentional about it.
Yes. And use time blocking. Literally, schedule blocks of time in your calendar dedicated to the one specific task. Treat that appointment with your task as seriously as you treat a meeting with your boss. It's about creating and protecting dedicated mental space.
Protecting mental space. That makes sense. Okay, next up. Tip 16 is control the busy work. Ugh. Busy work. Those low-value tasks that just seem to multiply and eat up the day. What are his strategies for fighting back?
Yeah, busy work is the bane of productivity, isn't it? He offers a whole toolkit here.
Mhm.
A big one is learning to say no politely, or at least setting realistic expectations about when you can do something non-critical.
Setting boundaries again.
Definitely. If you get hit with multiple ASAP requests, try to gently push back and clarify whose work is truly the highest priority right now. Don't just assume everything is urgent.
Good point. Ask for clarification.
He also suggests asking for help in return if a colleague constantly dumps busy work on you. Maybe ask for their help on something occasionally. Understand the actual costs of project delays sometimes. Knowing the impact helps you push back on unrealistic deadlines for minor tasks. Practice that time pessimism. Again, give yourself buffer room. And of course, control distractions because they often lead you down busy work rabbit holes. It's really about being strategic and assertive about where your time goes.
Strategic and assertive, not just passively busy. Got it. Okay, nearing the end of the tips. Tip 17. Know your tools and your keyboard too.
This sounds simple, but what's the deeper point?
The deeper point is that huge amounts of time can be wasted simply because we don't really know how to use the tools we rely on every single day efficiently.
Like keyboard shortcuts.
Exactly. He hammers on keyboard shortcuts. Think about how many times a day you copy, paste, cut, Control plus C, Control plus V, Control plus X, or Command on Mac. Learning even a few key shortcuts for your main applications can save seconds every time, which adds up massively.
True.
He tells this funny story about himself. For years, he was manually capitalizing headings in his documents one by one. Then he discovered his software had a built-in feature to do it automatically with one click.
Oh man, the wasted hours.
Right. It just highlights how important it is to actually spend a little time learning the features of the software you use constantly. He also pushes for learning touch typing if you're still hunting and pecking. The speed increase is enormous.
Touch typing, yeah, fundamental. And he recommends tools like application launchers, Alfred for Mac, Launchy for PC. They let you open programs or find files just by typing a few letters, way faster than using a mouse. Password managers like LastPass save you from typing passwords repeatedly. Even browser extensions like SpeedDial 2 for Chrome give you instant access to your most visited websites. It's all about shaving off those little micro delays that bleed your time away.
Mastering your tools eliminates friction. Makes total sense. And finally, the last tip. Tip 18. Know how you spend your time on your computer. Why is this self-awareness piece the capstone?
Because fundamentally, you can't fix a problem if you don't know what it is or where it's happening. So many of us feel incredibly busy all day, bouncing from task to task, but at the end of the day, we look back and think, what did I actually accomplish?
That feeling is the worst.
It really is. So Kiander suggests using time tracking tools. There are lots of apps out there that can run in the background and just monitor how much time you spend in different applications or on different
So
websites.
you get actual data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might be shocked to see how much time is really going to email or social media or random browsing versus focused work on your key projects. The advice isn't to beat yourself up about it, but to analyze that data honestly. Where are the time sinks? Then you can make targeted adjustments to increase your actual productivity ratio, the amount of time spent on valuable work.
Hmm.
It really brings up an important question, doesn't it? Without knowing where your time truly goes, how can you possibly make effective changes? It's like the ultimate self-audit for your workday.
Wow. Okay, what a comprehensive list. We have covered so much ground in this deep dive. We went from those absolutely essential foundational blocks, mindset, activity, nutrition, sleep, all the way through 18 really concrete, actionable tips from Timo Kiander to make your workday better.
It's a lot to take in for sure.
It really is. And Kiander's final piece of advice is super important, something I really want you listening to take away. Don't try to do all 18 things starting tomorrow.
Please don't. That's just a recipe for feeling overwhelmed and giving up.
Exactly. He says just choose one. Pick the one tip that resonates most with you right now, the one that addresses your single biggest productivity headache. Just start with that one thing.
That's absolutely key. And remember to personalize it. What works perfectly for Timo, or for us talking about it, might need tweaking to fit your specific job, your personality, your work environment. One size rarely fits all in productivity.
True.
The most crucial step really is just to take action. Try something.
Yeah.
Experiment. Test it out and see if it actually works for you. That's where the real learning and improvement happens.
So, thinking about all this, what does it really mean for you listening right now? Which single frog are you going to decide to eat first thing tomorrow morning? Or what tiny little snapshot might you create before your next break or vacation to ease that transition? Just consider how even one small, deliberate change, chosen thoughtfully, could start making a real difference in reclaiming those valuable, productive moments in your day.